Everybody, Swillow here, and today we are finally doing it. We're finally doing the long-awaited Pirate Warriors 4 tier list. So let's get right into this. First off, the criteria for this tier list is pretty much going to be which characters can most effectively clear this game's content with the least amount of problems. And some of the traits that are going to play into that is damage output, crowd control, mobility, survivability, and pretty standard stuff. It's a little difficult to make a tier list for a game like this because there's a lot of variables to consider, and sometimes just completing content fast isn't always like top tier worthy, at least not in my opinion. There's definitely got to be a sense of consistency and what you really have to do to perform that. So there's definitely going to be some characters that maybe I rate higher because of consistency rather than over potential. For instance, like some characters have amazing potential but they're not consistent with it. So let's get right into this. Let me just break down each tier. So first, S tier is going to be characters that they're just unbelievably strong, like they have no problem breezing through this game's content. A rank is characters that are incredibly strong but they probably have like a notable weakness or two that could get in the way of them sometimes clearing the content as effectively as S ranks can. B rank is pretty average characters, like they have notable strengths and notable weaknesses. These are the characters that are probably the best balanced in the game. Actually, I would say A rank are probably the characters I would say are the better balanced characters, because I would say the flaws that the B ranks have can often just hold them back a little bit more than they should, but we'll definitely get into each character as we get to that. C is characters that are not awful, but they definitely leave a lot to be desired. Like they just really underperform compared to the vast majority of the roster, I would say. D rank is basically unplayable. I mean, nobody in this game is technically unplayable, but these characters just really struggle to play the game at all. Like you have to put in so much extra effort to do what the S rank characters can do pretty much in their sleep. Like it's a pretty huge contrast between the S rank and the D rank characters, which actually wasn't like that in previous Pirate Warriors. I felt like, I mean, we definitely had some really overpowered characters in Pirate Warriors 3, but the worst characters were not like so bad that it just, I don't know, it felt like opposite ends of the spectrum. That's how it feels here. So let's get into this. Ace. Our first character, Ace, he's so strong. He was actually pretty good in previous games, but he's even better here. They gave him a moveset overhaul, and it's a beautiful one at that. Like, he's got great speed, crowd control, mobility, everything. And he especially has the infamous air SSST attack, which has the ability to hit multiple times, and this usually happens more so on characters that are larger in size, and especially on giants where this move seems like it hits upwards of 20, maybe even 30. I don't know, it's really hard to tell how many times it's hitting, but it's hitting so many times, and the damage output is pretty much unrivaled. Like what he can do with this move is like the single strongest damage potential that exists in this entire game. It's something that may even get patched out. I don't know, we'll see. It's definitely like either just a design they didn't expect, or it's kind of like a bug sort of thing, but it's definitely something that's not it's unlike anything any other character has. So Ace sits comfortably in the S rank because of having a great moveset overhaul and having that one notably strong option. But even if without that option, he would probably still be pretty high ranked. He might move down to like A, but honestly he still has potential to hang in the S. He has the Logia benefit as well, which is really strong. Akainu. Unbelievably strong character. So Akainu was a beast in Pirate Warriors 3 because he could deal some amazing burst damage. He laid down his lava pit, and not only was it great crowd control, but it was also amazing burst damage potential. And it's even crazier in this game because he can lay anywhere from 6 to 8 of these lava pits now instead of only 1. So just imagine that. It's a huge difference. I mean, in this game there is like giant enemies and bigger maps and stuff like that, so it makes sense that he can lay more, but it actually just leads to him being so much stronger than he even was in 3, and making him one of the best characters in the game easily, especially when you factor in the fact that he has the Logia benefits. There's really nothing that can interrupt him from doing his game plan non-stop. He's very consistent because of that, because he just can't be interrupted from doing what he wants to do. Kuzan, he's going to sit in the B rank. So Kuzan kind of got some buffs and some nerfs. I would say overall he's a better character, but he did lose some of his strongest options, which were his triangle strings in Pirate Warriors 3. So that's definitely a loss to him, but overall they made his moveset much better, much more viable as a whole, and he's a very solid character. His burst damage output isn't amazing, but he has Logia benefit. He's got a great status effect. Status effects in this game are really strong. Any character with a status effect is definitely taking full advantage of it in this game because they're very important. Okay, so next up we have Bart. Bart is the first character for D rank. You know, he has some okay burst damage potential, but he just really struggles otherwise. Mobility is not there. He can't fight very effectively. His moves are just so slow, and the hitboxes are very lacking that it just makes it difficult for him to do even just the most basic ordinary fighting, which is unfortunate because he's like a neat character in concept. Next up we have Beige. Pretty similar to Bart, like he's a neat character in concept, but it's just such a struggle for him to do even the most basic things. Like all of his attacks are exceptionally slow, have a lot of setup, and it's very easy for even just a peon to kind of walk out of the way or hit him or something like that. Like it's just really hard for him to do anything. But I would definitely say that if they sped him up a bit, he could become a strong character. If he was a bit faster, he has the potential to be strong because he can hit pretty hard. It's just the speed he's just so slow that he's unreasonably slow that it holds him back a lot. Boa Hancock. So Boa Hancock's gonna go into A rank. She's actually exceptionally strong in this game. I would say overall her moveset is still kind of like a gimmicky moveset, like it has been in past games, but she's definitely just stronger at her strong points now. And like I said, status effects in this game are a huge boon, and her status effect definitely plays into why she's one of the best characters in the game. So she can deal some pretty crazy damage and keep enemies locked down. Definitely a character that was on the rise up because she was not too good in Pirate Warriors 3, but she is really, really strong in this game. Brook, pretty solid all-around character. He's got great mobility, great speed, good combos. His crowd control is decent. His damage output is not the best. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. He definitely sits comfy in the B rank with great mobility and sort of lacking damage. Pretty fun character. One of the more fun Straw Hats in my opinion. Buggy. So Buggy's such an awkward character in this game. Like he's got a couple of incredibly strong moves, but overall he feels terrible to play as. He almost feels like terrible like the D ranks, the other D ranks we have. His moveset's just really awkward and clumsy and slow, and the damage isn't there on most of his moves, but when he detaches his body, when he detaches his arms, his square attack, the kicks, for some reason this move is just so strong. It's like one of the single strongest moves in the game, like normal attack wise at least. He can break armor very easily. He can just spam it on an enemy and kill them very quickly. Like this move is unreasonably strong for how silly it looks, but and it's definitely why he's in B rank. Like I would say without that move he's definitely like a C or even a D rank character, as he just feels pretty terrible otherwise. But if you abuse his couple strong options, he can actually deal like damage that's pretty comparable to even like some of the top tiers. Carrot is a really strong mobile character. When this game first came out, I actually thought she was like more of an S or an A tier, but as time went on and you got to in-game content, you could definitely see that she's not quite up there, but she definitely has like the potential. If her damage was higher, if her crowd control was a little better, she could easily be A rank. but the damage is, like the burst damage specifically, I would say, like she can do good damage because of her speed, the speed of her combos, and she does have a couple of decent damaging attacks, and she has a great status effect which allows her to lock down strong enemies and combo them to death. But she's really lacking on like singular strong burst damage options outside of her Muso specials. So she has to put in like a lot more work to defeat mobs, and of course she has to combo you have to make sure you're doing like her strong elaborate combos to take down officers effectively. If you're not doing like her good, if you're not making like taking full advantage of her status effect, then you're definitely going to struggle to defeat strong enemies in this game. Cavendish. So Cavendish is B rank pretty much because I would say Hakubo is like an A rank worthy, and his normal form is more like C rank. His normal form is just really underwhelming. Damage is kind of subpar. Mobility is, I mean, it's speed type mobility, so it's not bad, but it is what it is really. He doesn't have anything too special outside of other speed types. His range is awkwardly bad for having a sword. Like, for instance, Carrot has much better range than him with her bare hands, and that doesn't really make sense to me, but it is what it is. Cavendish has a sword and it's an illusion. It's just, it doesn't really hit that well at all. He has a move, I think it's called Heavy Metal Axe or something like that, that just, it can't hit anything. It's the hitbox on it is so insanely short that it's so difficult to hit anything. Hakubo is really strong, good mobility, good crowd control. You know, he's got all the good stuff. I don't think he has like any super busted S tier level stuff, but he's a very comfy A tier when he's in Hakubo form. So because of that, he just sits in B pretty much. You know, Hakubo is A worthy, his normal form is more C. So B is a comfy spot for him. Chopper. Chopper, man, I don't know, I really don't know what's up with this character. Like, I feel like they need to do something with him because he's just a waste on the character select screen, I feel, and he got weaker in this game. In Power Wars 3, he wasn't like, he was actually playable, but in this game he's not really playable at all. His range is bad. All of his strongest attacks, which are usually his monster point attacks, are so slow that enemies can walk out of them. I don't know, like, it's just really weird. Like, you see a character like Ace who got a great moveset overhaul for this game, and then you have characters like Chopper who are just like, why? I mean, I understand Chopper's, a lot of people don't pick up a game like this to play it Chopper, but it's like, why even have him? It feels like, why even have him? I mean, of course they have him because he's a straw hat, he's an important, he's a core character to One Piece, but that's literally the only reason he's in this game, is because he's like a core One Piece character. But they don't actually, you can tell that they don't care to actually put any effort into making him good, and it shows, especially in this game, because he's just not good at all. He's really bad. Crocodile. So Crocodile, I'm gonna put him in B. He's actually, overall, I would say he's much stronger than he was in 3. He did lose a couple of his really strong tools that he had in 3 though, like his enhanced R1, but I mean, he does still have his enhanced R1, but he can't use it. He can't like spam it the way he can in 3, but I would say overall he's a much better character. His moves are much more consistent, much more reliable. He's got Logia benefit, he's got Sky type perks, just a good character. He just doesn't have any like notably amazing moves like the A or the S tiers do, but he's actually really good. I like him a lot. Doflamingo, A rank. So Doflamingo he's a really wild and variable character because of how his puppet mechanic works, but he has more attacks in this game that are consistent without relying on his puppet mechanic. So he's able to get into A rank because of that. He does have consistent sources of damage if he's not able to get off his most powerful puppet setups. And I don't know, I think he's definitely really buffed from 3. In 3 he was really inconsistent in design. He was cool but inconsistent. He got better hitboxes, better crowd control. Basically, like I said, he has more consistent options in this game so that he doesn't always have to rely on his puppet gimmick. Franky's gonna go into C. So Franky can do some pretty nasty damage at times, but everything else about him is really underwhelming. Bad mobility, combos aren't particularly amazing, crowd control is so-so, and even though he does good damage, it's like his damage is not any more noteworthy than, you know, the other top tier characters. So, you know, maybe if he did like some of the highest damage in a game, that would at least put him into B tier, but it's just, you know, when you play as him, he's noticeably weaker than the better characters in this game. Fujitora, so this might be a surprising one to some people, because a lot of people feel like he just kind of got nerfed into the ground, and I mean, he definitely lost his best, most overpowered move from Power Warriors 3, but he's actually a really good character still. He still has a couple of like amazing damage options that allow him to hang up here with some of the best characters. He's definitely a lot more work now. You gotta press more than one button, which is this crazy amount of work. But yeah, Fuji's still got it. He's really still got it. He's not a bad character. Hawkins, he's gonna go into B. So Hawkins is a really variable character. Like, I would say he can fill anywhere from like a C rank to an A rank depending on your luck with him. But he's pretty strong overall. He's got some good core options. He's very fun. Not the greatest mobility. I don't know. He's kind of a luck-based character. I need to play him more, I feel like, but from what I've played, he's definitely a comfortable B. His luck factor makes him a comfortable B, because sometimes if luck's not on your side, then it's not a good time, but I don't think that happens that often. Ichiji, A rank. This guy's super good. He's he's super good, but not in the right ways. His overall his moveset is kind of crappy, but he has a couple of really good moves, like the burst lighting, the attacks where he shoots like all the light or the beams all around him are insanely strong, and him along with Yonji, they have this crazy ground attack, right? Their ground triangle attack, which has pretty much no recovery time. It's decently strong, and you can just literally spam it over and over and over and over. And so Ichiji ends up being one of the best characters in the game simply because of his ground combat, even though he's a sky type. It's very awkward. It's a very awkward situation to be in, but it is what it is. Ivankov's a comfortable B. I would say like his best trait is his crowd control, and he can hit kind of hard with some moves, but overall his range is a little sketchy, and his damage is nothing special. His mobility is pretty ordinary. I would say in terms of tech types, he's definitely like one of the more mobile tech types, but outside of tech types, not so much. You know, he's a comfortable B tier, really. He's not like weak, but he's not strong either. Jinbei. So Jinbei is a very interesting case. This character hits like stupid hard. The damage he can deal is like definitely S tier worthy, but everything else about him is probably more C tier. Like terrible mobility. You know, he's a slow character. His crowd control is, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I don't know. He's definitely lacking in every aspect besides damage, but his damage is high enough that it can carry him to B rank, where otherwise I think he would be like a C rank. Like definitely in Power Warriors 3 he was like a C or even like a D rank. he was definitely a lot of work. He didn't have like the immense amount of power that he has in Pirate Warriors 4, so he definitely got buffed in this game compared to 3. Kaido. Probably the best character in the game. His square triangle string is dumb strong, like just dumb strong. It hits all over, it does good damage. You know, he has the dragon form, which is insanely strong as well. Insanely strong R1 skills. Kaido's just strong. Like every button this character presses is just pure power. he's very much canon, like canon to the source material, anime, the manga, his power in this game. Kaido is Kaido. There's really nothing else you can say. Katakuri. So Katakuri definitely got special treatment in this game. This character is insanely good. Definitely the fastest, most mobile character. Amazing crowd control. His damage output isn't notably crazy compared to other top tiers, but his speed allows him to output attacks at such a fast rate that his damage can keep up with top tiers. And his full force burst is kind of like cheating almost, because it's like a combination of multiple types, like tech type, power type, and speed type. You know, he gets the endless stamina of a speed type. The floating mochi almost feels like a tech type sort of thing. And the floating mochi also feels like a power type sort of thing because it enhances his damage output. He also has pretty much the best status effect in the game, his mochi bind, which allows you to just go ham on enemies. They can't do it, they can't regenerate armor or anything like that. Katakuri is just such a good character, and they intentionally so made him a good character by giving him some special treatment. Kid, B rank. Kid he's strong, but nothing special. I really feel like that's just like the theme with him. I feel like he had the potential to be like a lot more than what they did with him if they elaborated on his arm mechanic a bit more, but you know, the arms are pretty straightforward. He doesn't really get like crazy differences when he upgrades his arms, which I feel like that should have been a thing. Like it should have enhanced some of his moves property wise, but besides just having like more range and potentially more power. But I don't know, like he's neat, and I think he needs to be expanded on a bit more. His damage is definitely like his most notable aspect. Everything else about him is kind of whatever. Kizaru. Alright, so Kizaru is, I don't know, like, he's kind of a B, but I almost want to put him in C. I think I'm going to put him in C. So, here's the thing. He's Sky type. He has low gear properties. He's not, like, terrible. Obviously not, like, terrible, but his damage output is not there. Like, I don't understand his damage output in this game. It's just not there at all. And his crowd control is kind of whatever. Definitely nothing to write home about. So poor damage, poor crowd control, despite everything else about him being pretty good, really hold him back. And he just feels like he takes too much time to do anything compared to most of the cast. Even within, even like compared to characters in the same rank as him and stuff, he just feels noticeably weaker, but he's being carried by the fact that he's a Sky type and a Logia. Law's gonna go into B. So Law definitely feels kind of nerfed in this game, but he has a couple of moves that just hit like stupidly hard. His whole room mechanic did not transfer to this game smoothly at all. It feels absolutely terrible. Very clunky. His room disappears when he dash cancels, which doesn't really make sense to me. But alright, he's just underwhelming across the board in my opinion. There's so much they could have did to make him better, and you know, like in Power Wars 3 he was excellent. He was absolutely amazing. So I actually suspected pre-release that Law was going to kind of get affected by the R1 change, and that definitely turned out to be the case. You know, he's definitely just saved by the fact that he can hit hard. You know, Gamma Knife hits really good. He's got a couple other R1s that can hit pretty good damage-wise, but outside of that, there's definitely not much to him. Big Mom. So Big Mom is what I want to say. She's like one of the weakest to the strongest. She's definitely like, she's got all the giant perks. She's just not as strong as like some of the other S tiers in terms of burst damage output. So she has decent crowd control, mobilities, like what you would expect of a giant, which is both good and bad. It's good because they're big, so they cover a lot of space, but it's relative to their size, like it's not amazing. It's obviously nowhere near someone like Katakuri. You know, she's like the worst of the best. That's like the easiest way to put it. She's still one of the best characters in the game, but she's not as good as other characters in her rank, I feel. Rob Lucci. So this man is really solid. He's really solid in 3, and he's really solid here. He's just really good, fluid, intuitive character to play. I don't think he's like notably strong compared to others in his rank, but because his overall design is so good and consistent, that's why I will make him A rank, even though his damage output isn't like necessarily as strong as some of the other characters that are in this tier currently. Luffy. So Luffy is a really well designed character in this game, definitely comfy in the A rank. He's got a lot of options, a lot of variety, a lot of potential. He's maybe just lacking like a really crazy broken option like the S tiers have, but he's actually a really good character. Definitely feels like main character status and design. You can definitely tell that they put a lot of work into him. Marco. Man, oh my gosh, Marco. What happened to you, man? What happened? Yo, Marco was the OG air combat guy, right? Now, he wasn't like amazingly strong even in previous games, but he wasn't like bad. But in this game, he just feels really weak. He feels underwhelming damage-wise. His crowd control is very inconsistent because the way he moves during his attacks gets affected by the environment very easily. He's just, wow. I don't know. He should have been one of the best characters in this game, I feel, just because he was the originator of air combat, but they pretty much just threw him into this game and they didn't do much else. That's it. They turned all of his moves into what they were in the first game, honestly, like in Pirate Warriors 3. He was in Pirate Warriors 2 as well. He was actually stronger in Pirate Warriors 2. I think that was like his best version, was Pirate Warriors 2. He got weaker in 3, it felt like, and he got weaker here in 4. That's a shame. It's a shame. Mihawk. So Mihawk is a hard choice here. I want to put him S, I want to put him A. I think I'm going to put him in A. So he's honestly close to S though. He can deal crazy damage on his air attacks, notably his air SS triangle, SST. Shoots the 3 blade beams, which is absurdly good for everything. Damage, crowd control, everything. That one move makes him like stupidly strong. He's got some decent R1s as well, and not a terrible kit otherwise, but it's definitely his air square triangle that really carries him to be one of the best characters in the game. Nami. So Nami she's really bad in general, but her full force bursts are really good. I would say her full force bursts can almost make her B rank, but everything else about her design is definitely not that good. She's on the brink of being like a D rank character, but full force burst definitely saves her. Niji. Super strong. Like all the Vinsmokes, he has some questionable hitboxes and overall design, but the few good moves he has they're just dumb strong, yo. They're so strong. I don't understand. The Vinsmokes definitely got some kind of privilege here. Intentionally or unintentionally, they did. Also, the Vinsmokes, I didn't mention this with the Ichiji, but the Vinsmokes have a unique type of attack, which is assist attacks, where they can call in their other brothers, and this is really strong, especially anyone who can use Niji or Ichiji's assists because their assist attacks are really good. Yonji's assist attack, not so good. Alright, so Reiju is one of the best characters in the game. She's really solid, very fluid to play as. Out of all the Vin smokes, she actually feels like naturally strong overall. They definitely put a lot more care into her moveset, it feels like, compared to the others, where they got some sloppy hitboxes and stuff. She doesn't necessarily hit as hard as the other Vin smokes. She doesn't have the assist element like they do, but she is like a solid character in her own right, and definitely one of the most fun characters to play as. Robin. Robin is, I don't know, she's really bad overall. She's just really slow, really lacking in mobility, but her square deals so much guard break, so much damage that single repeated loop of action, to square dash, can carry her to be one of the, I mean, I'm not gonna say she's one of the best, but she's sitting in B rank. She's not a bad character, where otherwise she would definitely be like a C rank. Sabo's going into the B rank. He's pretty similar to Kizaru actually, in that he has a lot of like nice perks, you know, Logia, he's a speed type, but he's really underwhelming. Not as underwhelming as Kizaru, but the damage is lacking, the crowd control is lacking. He feels underwhelming, especially if you look at like Ace. Ace got the big buffs here, and Sabo not so much. Sanji. So Sanji is going to be in C rank pretty much because of his big character trait of not being able to hit women. Otherwise he's more like a B rank. He has like a really inconsistent move design. He's got a lot of ground attacks that he can only use on the ground, even though he's a sky type. Even his full force burst activation, which is called Skywalk, can only be used on the ground. Doesn't make any sense to me, but that's Sanji, man. That's Sanji. Character just don't make any sense. Shanks is going into the S rank. So Shanks just has like crazy good crowd control, crazy good damage. Mobility is kind of whatever, but the damage and the crowd control definitely make up for it. He can hit insanely hard. He's got Conqueror's Haki, which can give him his red sword. He can use square triangle, which is just absurdly like one of the most powerful options in this entire game. He's got good R1s, pretty good strings in general. Like, he doesn't really have any bad moves. You know, like, he's got a good solid kit, and his strongest options are some of the best in the game. Smoker. This character definitely got buffed. He definitely feels very solid in this game. He is kind of lacking in like any crazy burst damage potential, but I would say that he gets to be strong just because he's well designed in general. Definitely a big upgrade from Pirate Warriors 3. Now, in contrast to Smoker, Tashigi is poorly designed in this game, and the only reason she's in B tier is because she does have a couple of moves that deal stupid damage. So she's carried into this tier for like really crazy damage, and her mobility isn't too bad either, but she's lacking in every other regard. Her overall damage output is weak besides a couple of good R1s. Her crowd control is not very good. She's a very disappointing character, honestly. I could make another video talking about her entirely. Teach. So Teach got the big buffs in this game. This man is living the good life. He hits like insanely hard, amazing crowd control, amazing damage output. Pretty much he's held back by poor mobility. He's also like kind of a nuisance in multiplayer because he sucks the enemies under and your allies can't hit them, but he's just so strong. He got buffed. He definitely got buffed. He does kind of struggle against fighting Logia. Otherwise, I feel like I would almost want to put him into S rank. Usopp. My man Usopp, he's going to sit comfy in the B rank. Usopp is a pretty hard-hitting character, but his mobility is kind of lacking. His crowd control is like so-so. Like, it's good and it's bad at the same time. It's really weird. And his damage is good, but his attacks don't stagger enemies as effectively as other characters, so even though he does good damage, enemies can easily like run through his ranged playstyle and hit him. Which, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You would think being a ranged character would benefit you because of your range, but nope. That doesn't benefit Usopp at all. He actually is a very vulnerable character with poor defense despite using ranged combat. Whitebeard. This man just can't be bad in the game, can he? He's up there as potentially one of the best, if not the best in the game. His R1s are like super strong. Crazy crowd control, crazy damage. He's got the fastest standard run speed, though I wouldn't say he has the best mobility if you factor in dash canceling and stuff like that. But his standard run speed is the fastest in the game. I think his square strings, or his regular attack strings, are not as strong compared to what they were in 3. They leave a bit to be desired here, despite him being much bigger, but his R1s definitely make up for that. Yonji. So Yonji is like insanely strong for reasons I was already mentioning earlier. He has the same triangle attack as Ichiji, which is so good. It has pretty much no recovery, and he can use the assist mechanic. And I mentioned that earlier, that Ichiji and Niji have the best assist attacks, which Yonji reaps massive benefits from that, being able to call in both of them with their amazing top tier assist attacks. So Yonji kind of reaps the benefits of his brothers to be probably even better than they are, but I would say they're all pretty good. Like, all 3 of the Vinsmoke boys are pretty solid. And Reiju, of course, is great as well. Zoro. So this is definitely Zoro's game. Zoro hits like a truck. Yo, he's got a couple of moves that just do so much damage and control so much space. His triangle, most notably, is just dumb good. It's so good. And he has some decent R1s as well. You know, he can combine his triangle and his R1. I forget what it's called, but where he shoots a shockwave, and whew, these moves are so good. So good. Overall, his moveset kinda sucks, but he has a couple of moves that are just so good that they carry him all the way to top tier. So this is it. This is the list. Let me try to order it now. I'm gonna try my best to do this. So Kaido is gonna be the best character in the game. We're gonna put Whitebeard at second. Third place is a little more difficult to pinpoint. I would say it's either Akainu or Katakuri. I'm gonna put Katakuri because I think Katakuri is just a little better, like a little faster in the game plan. Akainu definitely does more damage than Katakuri, but Katakuri is a bit more consistent and mobile. Ace, definitely a contender for one of these spots, but these are definitely the 5 best characters. So we look at these 5 characters here. These 5 right here are on a whole other level from the rest of the roster. The way they play, the damage, everything is just on a whole other level, even within the other 2 in the S rank. So after that, we get Shanks being incredibly strong, but not quite up here with the top 5, and Big Mom. Like I said, she's the best of the worst, but still very good. A rank. This is gonna be a little tricky to do. Let's see, Mihawk. We're gonna move Mihawk up here to the top because he's almost S tier worthy in my opinion. Boa can come up. Yonji can come up. Sorry. Fuji can. Actually, we want Teach up here a little bit more. I don't know. Teach or Yonji. Fuji's good. Can move Ichiji up here. Doflamingo. I don't know, Doflamingo or Fuji. That's a good one. Don't put Doflamingo. Niji can go over here. Reiju can be right here. Luffy can move. Put Luffy right here. I don't know. I might be putting Luffy a little higher than I feel like he is, but he is a well-designed character. B rank. Strongest in B rank. Crocodile's up there. Buggy's actually really strong. He's probably going to be at the top. Sabo can go down. Tashigi can go towards the middle. Carrot can actually move up here. Oops, wrong character. Let's move Tashigi back here. Cavendish thinks Akabo can definitely move up. Smoker can move back a little bit. Jinbei can move up. Law can move up. Put Hawkins up over Brook. Put Kid up a little bit. Put Usopp in front of them. Down here, Kizaru is definitely the best. Then I would say Sanji, Marco, Nami, and then Franky down here. This is already looks good to me. Beige is definitely the best of these three. I really don't know who's better or worse between these two, but I don't know. Chopper is like, he kind of sucks. He sucks a lot actually. That's it. So I'd say I'm pretty confident in this list overall. There's definitely some characters that could be moved up or down a little bit possibly, but this is a pretty solid look at characters that I feel are extremely consistent, strong, just good characters all around, to be honest. Like, especially the S and A tier, these are all characters I've played a lot more than the others. Some of the B tiers I've played a lot, like Carrot, of course. She's one of my most played. I've played a lot of Tashigi, so I'm very confident about these characters. Some of these other characters, not so much, but I feel like I have an okay placement on them. You know, C and D rank is just kind of unfortunate. I feel like these characters just stand out as not being as good as they could be. So that's it. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know if you think I overrated some characters or underrated some characters, or just let me know what you think in general. Thank you all for watching. Peace.